YouTube channel. I'm Rogério Manso, and I'm here to talk about hybrid project management. So we have these events, these lives every Wednesday, and today for me it's really a very special day. First, because I'm here with this opportunity to talk to you, to share knowledge, experience, best practice in hybrid project management. But the second great reason is that I have here a very great and old friend of mine. Actually, my guest today was my first instructor when I was studying to get my PMP. He helped me to get my PMP in 2005, and since then we become a friend. And every time I really need to ask help for someone in project management, he's the person that I trust more. There's a lot of experience in project management, and I'm really happy to have here my dear friend Peter Mello. Welcome, Peter, to my channel.
Hello. Very good to be here. Many thanks for the invitation. It's always great to see you again. We had a great journey working together at some point. You're not just my student, right? We worked together. We did lots of important things in project management together. So
it's
thank you
about
for
20 years. I met Peter in 2004 when I was searching for a prep course for PMP. And Peter was working as instructor of PMP in a company in Brazil. And we had at that time we had once a week class to study to PMP. And even studying once a week, there's a lot of things. I had a lot of things to study, and I think that was at this moment that I really understood the role of a project manager. Before, I was like working as a project manager, but I have no information or knowledge about what to do, and I was working like in any way. But after this training with Peter, not only I was prepared to pass the PMP, what I did, but I also learned a lot of best practice in project management. And for me, it's a great pleasure to have Peter here. And we're gonna talk about. I invited Peter to discuss about this because I know that Peter has a lot of experience on this subject, but I'm sure that Peter will put questions, a challenge in all of your minds about resource management. Okay, we're gonna talk today about challenge in resource management when you adopt a hybrid approach. We know that resource management is one of the critical domain in project management. Most of the time when we have a project that fails or there's not well successful is because some kind of resource management failed. And Peter worked in Brazil in many projects and programs where he developed a high expertise in resource management. And that's what we're going to discuss today. What's the difference between managing resources in traditional way, in agile way, in hybrid way? What are the biggest challenges when we assign our resources, when we manage the availability of these resources? And we're going to talk, if you have time, we're going to talk about what is the impact of artificial intelligence today in resource management. So there's a lot of good questions that I will ask to Peter, and I would like to say, Peter, that in this live, we don't have any script, anything prepared. I send you some questions that we can use to discuss, but I will explore you as you provide information. And if someone that are watching us on YouTube, if you have any questions, please send the message. Put your questions here. We're gonna try to answer the questions, but if we cannot, maybe we can record another session, answer your questions, and providing you the additional information about resource management. So, Peter, I like to start with the questions I ask to everybody when it comes to my YouTube channel. Why did you choose to become a project manager?
Well, maybe I'm a little bit crazy like you are. We make some strange choices, right, during the course of our lives, and project management, I think, was one of them. It's thrilling. I love it. It's like people say that when you like your work, you don't work, right? You just enjoy
Yeah.
it. And I have this passion for project management since I started to study that. I just like you said, you had me as your tutor when you're studying for the PMP certification. I had one person in the company I was working with, IT, in 1998, and he was a specialist in IT at that time, and he was very kind, very connected to studies. He was the one that brought the knowledge of CMM to Brazil, the modeling, right? CMME,
Capacity model.
yeah, the capacity model to Brazil, and he was the author of a very well-known magazine in Brazil. And one time he came to our company to give project management classes that were open to our customers. So we had people from the Bank of Itaú and Bank of Brazil and other big corporations. They all got into our company to learn about project management, and he was the instructor, and I was called to help on that presentation, just a little helper, just like with the PowerPoint, right? I was just a new employee on that particular company, and that was so great that I asked him to put me as a student on the next class. And from there, I start to study the topic, and then I start to help the project managers of that company on doing stuff related to management. And 3 months later, I was already helping one of the project managers in their project to control little things of this big project. And then by studying this, I realized that I was going to do something that I would enjoy for the rest of my life. That was really funny. It was like a aha moment, right? And a few weeks later, I came to the boss, to the owner of this company, and said, "Oh, we sell this software to many companies in São Paulo. We make a lot of money, but we don't really have a distribution for this in the rest of Brazil. Why don't we do that?" And the owner said, "Oh, so create for me a project on how we would do that. And if this project is good, the position is yours." And I said, okay. So I got all my skills, and I got a little book, and I start to study that thing, and I prepare my first project. I explain how I would get customers, how I would attract investors, how I would get other people to help us making the marketing of the software. And he liked it. And I was promoted channel manager for the company. So I was responsible for every city across Brazil, with the exception of São Paulo. And São Paulo is a big city in Brazil. We make a lot of money when we do good sales in São Paulo, right? So my goal was to do as much sales in the rest of Brazil than we had in São Paulo. And for the whole year, I was working to improve that project so we could achieve the goal. and we did. So from that moment, project management became a reality. It helped first promotion to be very helpful to a company, to start to make money that I wasn't making before, and then from there I start to work in real project management projects in IT. I moved to another country to work on that. At that time, I was between Uruguay and Paraguay, working with the company. It became as a tool for a new moment on my life, and then it became a passion. And since 1999 to today, I'm a project management fan. So this is basically the way to start and to go.
Great. Just for those that don't just to those that are watching us to understand what is the collaboration of that Peter gave to the project management community. In 2009, Peter was awarded with Eric Janet PMI Award Person of the Year. So this is the highest prize or award from PMI for those that have give a significant collaboration in project management around the world. So that's how I like to introduce you to Peter, and to I expect that you enjoyed this conversation, because I'm sure that Peter have a lot of things to share. But I would like to start our discussion, Peter, and I will try to sometimes challenge you a little bit. I'm sorry about this. I respect you a lot, but I like to create this competition inside this discussion, a sanity competition. And my first question: what is your vision? What is your thoughts about organizations or professionals that use to adopt a specific approach in managing a project, like traditional or agile?
Okay, so first of all, I think that wording we hear, there's no silver bullet, right? This is so common. We hear this so much, but this is so true. So we have to remember, right? There is no silver bullet to any situation. You as a project manager, you have to build up your Batman utility belt, and you have to be prepared to many different situations. So when you get stuck to one single way of doing stuff, this limitation will be a roadblocker for your career as a project manager, and it may take out value of what you're delivering to a company, because you are trying to use that silver bullet, that one approach, right? And when you talk about traditional project management, you have dozens, you have hundreds of methodologies in traditional. And then you go to agile, and you have dozens, you have hundreds of different approaches for agile, and people get stuck sometimes to one thing. So I am a rational guy, I am a Scrum guy, I am the I don't know,
safe guy.
Safe guy, right? So yes, you need a specialization. You need to be the guy that holds the castle into one particular subject, so people can trust you on that particular field. But you have to have the ability to understand and navigate all across the other ones, right? So you said about resource management. Resource management is like a specialization for scheduling, right? So one time I said, I need to do better scheduling. I need to bring more value to my customer by doing better scheduling. And then I realized that if I don't do good scheduling with resource management, I'm not doing a good scheduling at all. And then people say, oh, but we don't do scheduling when we are doing agile approaches. Yeah, somehow one of the interesting things about agile is that they found an easy solution for some of the resource management problems you have. Because on traditional, you have very complex projects with many interfaces going in different areas, and sometimes with 100 people, 200 people. I have worked with projects with 12,000 people, hundreds of connections, and you have to control them. You really need advanced scheduling. And then you go to one specific Scrum agile team, and okay, you have 5 guys that are full-time working on that particular problem. Okay, so this is your resource management. You said this is a limited project for a limited time, and during this time frames, you have these people all connected to this solution. So this means that one of the scheduling problems you have, it's solved by convincing the customer that if they don't give you the full time of the team, and if they don't have a very limited work to do every week, everything is going to be wrong, right? So they just turn upside down the triangle, right? When we talk about project management, you have the scope on the triangle, the base of the triangle, then we have the time, and then we have the cost, right? So you have this strong triangle. If the scope changes a little bit, the money changes, the time changes, everything goes around when you change one of the sides of the triangle, right? And then when you go to an agile approach, you say, let's put the triangle on the opposite. We got to put the cost here, it's fixed. Let's put the time here, it's fixed too. And then if we have possibility, we complete this triangle putting the scope. We complete it with the work, right? And then if for some reason the scope is not done, oh, I'm sorry, we have a technical debt that must be solved in the future. So by closing one time with the many reviews you're going to have, the sprints you're going to have, and then by closing the money you're going to spend, and then filling in with the scope with the agile, they solved many complex projects, situations we have with resource management. But the real world needs much bigger connections. And there comes the hybrid space, right? Because you can have a complex, long-term, traditional waterfalls project, and inside this project, you can have several agile teams working. So once you put all these together and you find the best moments to put one of them, you are doing the best for your customer. You're creating value, right? And that's what is so beautiful about the hybrid approaches.
Great. I was thinking how would be managing a project with 12,000 resources in agile mode. It would be something very interesting. But Peter, we are talking, you said something interesting. You said that usually we connect the scheduling or the planning phase with the resource management. And I totally agree with you. We cannot have any good plan or, I don't know, scheduling activities if we don't master or we don't have control of our resources. So what is the importance of resource management? I always say that there's no best area or knowledge area in project management, but for my perception, if I have to select like 2 or 3 knowledge areas that are critical on any project, I would say scope management, risk management, and resource management. Right. I think that if we have a good understand about these 3 areas, all others we can make some adjustments. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think these 3 are very strong. They are very strong, well positioning in your belt of tools that you have to use for project management. Because when you are working with resource management and you are watching for risks, somehow you have to build up your schedule anyway. You have to build up your cost controls as well, right? So if you're clear with the resources you need to do, you have to do, and if you're clear with the work you have to do, and then you're taking risk management approach, you're going to identify everything else regarding the time, the quality, the cost, the communication issues, the procurement, everything will kind of fit together, right? And I think that when the agile get this first boom, oh, everything is working well with the agile world, is because somehow people were doing bad resource management. They were not producing good scheduling. They were making very weak scope deliveries. And we know that when we break the deliveries into smaller parts, they are easier to manage. And you can do this in traditional too, right? Or in a hybrid, you can break into releases, you can break into different moments and versions and settings, but people were not doing that correctly. So when they say, oh, agile is all about that, it shifts the attention to something that was a big problem because of bad management, not because the traditional wouldn't work, right? So once now in the agile world, you start to get again the need of more complex teams putting together, and they try to solve that with the safe or the multi teams and squads and so on. Then you return to the original problem: how to manage the resource properly, right? So I had a presentation on the PMI Global event in 2018 about a proper scheduling for. We created a scenario. The Earth was going to be destroyed by an asteroid that was going to bump into the Earth and kill everyone. And then NASA had to build up 2 projects to solve that problem. So one of these projects, we would launch a special rocket, and this special rocket would carry a laser gun. So we had to build the laser gun, and we had to send this super rocket. If the 2 things wouldn't work together, we wouldn't save the Earth. And then we got information from many NASA real projects, and we put together in a portfolio of projects. And we picked one resource that was shared between many of these projects from NASA, like one special engineering team, or the guy that pays the bill, that signs, the president of the United States that signs the money for the project. It doesn't matter. You pick one person, and this person may affect all the projects because he's on holiday, because he is doing 3 projects at the same time, because everything is important. And we demonstrate on that particular project that even with the hundreds of resources going in different directions, a few resources can become the critical path for the project. So we talk about critical path as it would be activities. Oh, where is your activity path? What is your critical path in the project? And then you see these red bars. Oh, these activities are the critical activities. Well, most of the time, they are critical because of the resources. Either people, either money, either the other work that wasn't finished, but they need that particular material to conclude the work. And if you don't dispose these resources in the proper way, you're going to waste time at the end of the thing. So on the end of this presentation, we demonstrate that by just tweaking the schedule a little bit to organize the projects based on the critical resources, NASA didn't have to stop all the projects to save Earth, right? Because if NASA would concentrate all the resources to save Earth, it would finish the 2 projects on time, Earth would be saved, and then NASA wouldn't exist anymore because everything else from NASA didn't work, right? So what we had to do, we had to solve the portfolio schedule in such way that NASA could still do all the projects that it was supposed to do, and also finish those two more important projects on time, right? And that was just based on resource alignment, just finding the right resource for the right time at the right moment. This is like a specialization in scheduling. And people say, oh, we don't need that on hybrid, on agile. Yes, you need. I had this opportunity of talking to the guy that created the discipline agile approach for that now is for PMI, and he was telling me about the teams in agile and how they work and so on. And we did an exercise for resource management on their own, on that team, and we also found little tweaks that if we do it, we can improve the schedule. And the schedule in agile, it doesn't change the end date, but it changes how much work you can do, right? So on normal approach, if you make a mistake in resource management, you take longer. And in agile, if you do good scheduling, you do more work on the same sprints, right? And in hybrid world, you have to get the best of the two things.
When you talked about the special resources that works in different projects, I remember a situation where I was working in an organization here in Canada, where we have only one solution architect for all portfolio in the organization.
Right.
He was not the solution architect for your project, but we need his approval for the solution for each project. So each project, before any change, we need to submit to this professional to approve. Of course, he cannot. He works 8-10 hours per day. He cannot spend all the time just approving projects. He had other things to do. And normally, when we start a project, when we finish the solution, we had other solution architects in the team, but we always need his approval. Okay.
Right.
When the solution architect say, "Okay, here's the solution. Let's submit it to the senior solution architect."
Yeah.
It takes about 2-3 weeks to get the answer. Okay. And the worst case is if you are running a project that you need to change something immediately, okay, or you are in an agile or something approach that you need to change something very fast. So it was crazy because despite the organization trying to move to an agile environment and agile culture, they always had to ask someone in a traditional way to get his approval. So I said, okay, we need to create a user story to ask the approval for that takes about the whole sprint. So we ask a user story in the beginning of the sprint. We get the answer at the end of the sprint to start working the next sprint. So it was crazy, you know. But let me ask you something, Peter. What is, in your experience, what's the biggest challenge when we manage a resource? I know that having the right resources, having the resources that are really capable or able to do the job, this is a common thing. But when we talk about resource management, what your experience? What are the biggest challenges organizations are facing today?
Well, people don't see much value in scheduling, right? When most of the places you see, you go, people just put some kind of collection of colored bars to tell the high management what they are going to deliver, and then the customer have some dates and so on. So sometimes it's our fault. We as managers, we don't see the importance of working to build up a good schedule and model on this schedule the needs of these resources, how they are interconnected. So once people see the value on that, and you have a problem like your assistant architect that works on different projects, then you need the assistance of the PMO, right? The portfolio manager, the project officer that will help you putting your schedule with that information from that particular person, and also interconnect with the other projects that are also going to need that particular person. So you need to have access to the information of who is available to your project, and that person does not belong to your project on daily basis, right? So people say, "Oh, it's a communication problem, right? It's a PMP test question, right? How much time does a project manager spend in communication, right? Oh, he spends 90% of his time in communication. Why? Because yes, it's the final effect of this. When you prepare a good schedule, you publish the good schedule, you adjust, you send it to other people, and you check the information, and you bring back, and then you test again. You're communicating something, right? So it's easy to say, oh, it's a problem in communication. But what is the real problem? Well, the problem is I'm not really sure who is available when, and I'm not putting this on my plan, and I'm not seeing the effect of that on the daily basis. And then you go to a company that is a little more like self-aware of this, or they are like much more mature, they are doing good scheduling, they start to plan resources. And there's another thing that happens is that most of the software will not calculate well when you have to change resources from one place to another. So sometimes you need the tools that will actually help you taking the good decision. And you said that you're going to ask me about the opportunities with AI, right? At some point. And this is one of the moments that we can talk about it. AI will help.
Let's wait. Let's keep this for the end, Peter.
Yeah, okay. But
for the end. I have some good examples about AI.
Yes.
You're talking. I'm remembering here one thing, because I teach also project management, and some students ask, okay, if I go to an organization and I manage a project, can I manage in my way? Can I use my approach? Can I create my strategy? I say yes and no.
Right.
You can create something, but you always have to submit your approach, your strategy to the organization. Most of the time, the organization will analyze if this approach, this strategy, it's aligned with the other projects, because there's in fact, there's always a question. If you start using something very different, the other projects will not be integrated with this. So we are talking about portfolio.
Right.
Here in Canada, we have a huge problem today, that it's the lack of resources. So Canada is a country where we have a great difficulty to find resources for anything. It's not only project management. If you come to Canada, if you are qualified, if you have the visa, the rights to work, you will find something to work. There's a lot of places to openings in Canada.
Right. Yeah.
And especially in projects, my biggest challenge here is really keep the resources working the project, because most of the time they are working the project and they receive an offer, a better offer to work in another company. They move to another company, so I need to find another one to replace this person. There's a learning curve that we need to wait. Yeah. There's always the time wasted when we change people in the project, and also, and most important, we break the momentum. So this is for me, it's it's almost 100% of the time in my projects I have to face this kind of situation where someone leave or someone arrive to the project, and I need to manage this. I need to replan all the time. Doesn't matter if it's traditional, agile, hybrid. It doesn't matter. When
Yeah.
when your resources change, your team changes, you have a break of the momentum. You have to replan, rethink the capacity, the knowledge, the productivity, the velocity, everything. You need to review your project. Okay. And especially here in Canada, there's a greater difficulty to find good persons, good professionals that are understand the context. They are flexible. They are ready to adapt. And this is why I decided to create my channel, because I see a lot of professionals looking for jobs, but they don't open mind to be flexible, to be someone that could learn something. We think that after 20 years, 25 years of experience, we know everything. We don't know everything. Actually,
Yeah.
as much we learn, more we know that we know nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But for you, if you have to give some advice, some good, ideas or tricks or something to people that are working project management or starting in project management, what will be related to resource management?
Well, you said something very important regarding the momentum, right? So uh, sometimes you lose a person, and that person may not be the top high quality worker, but still he will be missed. By the time you find somebody else and put the team together to work with that new person, right? You're going to face problems in your project. So resource management, there is like a calculation factor to it. There's the moment of schedule, understand, see the numbers where they are or not. But the most important thing in resource management is the team building, is to actually be close to your team, understand what they need. Sometimes this guy that is about to leave the company, he might stay if he understands the value that he can bring to the table. He can, maybe the salary is not really the big difference. Maybe he's not feeling like, oh, I do a very important job to the company. I get, okay, it's not the best salary at all, but I'm at least recognized by this work I'm doing, right? And then another company offers him them a little more money, and he doesn't feel much appreciate in your side, right? He may take that decision. Be close to your immediate coordination team, is to talk to everyone that's really near to you, in the sense that you're going to be there to help them grow in their business. If you feel like it, I'm one day going to be a top director, and I'm not going to be bringing someone from my team to replace me as a manager. It's really poor mind, right? So if you want to grow somewhere, you have to bring people to want to grow with you, right? You have to prepare them from day one, right? So one time I actually left the company because that company decided to do whatever they wanted with my media team. So they said, oh no, I'm the owner of the company, so I'm just going to get this person that works for you and I'm going to change the project. And said, no, we built a team, we had a connection, we decided to do stuff together. So you can still ask for that person, but I have to sit with that person. I have to discuss if it's a good moment for that person. I need to understand if she really needs to change project or not. And then I'm going to help her to change the project because she's going to get a better position or money or so on. But you have to keep up with the relation. And when the company decided to cut the steps and take that decision for you, I said, I don't want to work here, because this resource moment, the management of your team and building up this connection with everyone, it's the most valuable thing at the end, right? So and we face these challenges together at some point. If you remember, when we worked together on giving training, right? You didn't tell your people here, your audience, right? But you were my top student at some point. And when we are having too many new project managers that wanted to take the certification, I couldn't do the work myself. I couldn't be in every class at the same time. So I had to bring some other person to be helpful and assist me on that teaching project, right? And then I had Rogério Manso. I said, look, Rogério, we have classes for you. Are you ready for the challenge, right? So because we had this relation, and we discussed what could be that to work together, and then you saw the opportunity of doing something else that was like a new challenge for you at that particular moment, and you said yes, right? So that was the beginning of our friendship. It was the beginning of a good professional relation. I was not just the professor and the student, the teacher and the facilitator, right? We were colleagues of work, right? And I think that this kind of shows that resource management, there is math, there is communication, there is study, there is tools, but most of all, you have to bring yourself close to your team, and you have to build the team all the time.
Are you saying that resource management it's a leadership question?
It is. It is a leadership opportunity. Yes.
Yeah. So let's say that you have the opportunity, Peter, because I know that most of the time we project managers we try to help the organizations to bring value, to deliver value, but sometimes organizations don't understand this. They are not ready to talk with project managers. If you have the opportunity to talk to organizations, what are you going to say?
Well, as you just said, in the end, resource management has a lot to do with the leadership, right? And leadership issues you have in all levels. So your boss, when you are a project manager, he might be a project officer that may be on the structure of that company, your boss. Sometimes he's just an assistant to an area and there is a director. It doesn't matter, but you have people around you that are either in a strong position to make things easier or more difficult to you, and you have to build the relation with these people as well, right? But when they when you want to sell the idea of project management to them, you have to sell the importance of you taking care of your team and making your team better and better, and somehow make them feel like it. Oh, I have to do this too, right? So I don't understand everything Peter says. When he puts this schedule, for me, it's a lot of colors, and I don't really understand that. But I think I have the obligation to understand him a little better. So let me study a bit of what is happening, right? So maybe by example, by conducting a good team, a close team that works together, you will somehow express to your boss that he needs to connect with you as well, and he needs to push you up, and he needs to share stuff with you. And on this particular relation, there's one practical tool in project management that got to be very important at some point, which is the canvas, right? People talk about the business canvas. When you are talking about startups and new business, they understand the business canvas. You get the basic idea of what's going on, who is related to what, etc. And then you put everything on these little boxes, and people talk about it. And there is the project management canvas, which is the same concept, the same principle. It's just a piece of paper with the special parts that we're going to discuss. And the beauty of the canvas is not because you really find each card. It's not because you now know your risk, your cost, or your time, or your resources. It's because you put people thinking together. So I like to build the canvas, even if I am already working in a project that has a big, extensive, complete plan. Once in a while, we open up the canvas again and said, look, let's think about the next few weeks. Does this canvas still make sense? Is this still our goals? Is this still the team we need? Is this the quality points we have? Is this the risks we had identified before? You don't need to be crazy about Canvas. You don't need to use it all the time. You don't need to understand the tool in the details, but the concept of showing something to everyone and discussing that thing in a visual manner, that's the great part of the canvas, and that would be a good way of getting close to the higher organization and putting them to talk more with your team as well.
I like to register and to leave here record. I'm inviting you, Peter, to another section where we can exercise this. We can work in a project management canvas. We can see your example about the resource critical path. Okay.
Right.
So people that are watching this video, stay tuned. We're gonna have a second chapter of this conversation for sure. I don't know exactly the when, but I will gonna organize with Peter to define very soon another day to come here and to demonstrate to you how to work with project management canvas. There are many project management canvas you can find in the internet, in the market. Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter which kind of a template you're gonna use. Okay, I always say that you don't need to be attached forever in a tool, in a template, in a document. You need to change. You need to adapt. You need to know for each situation, for each organization, for each project, you need to find the best tool, the best approach. For me,
Right.
hybrid project management is not only when you decided to work with traditional and agile way. You can have hybrid only in agile. You can work with Kanban, you can work Scrum at the same time. You can put safe in the middle. So you can have different approach if you just adopt adaptive approach. There's no problem on this. Okay.
Yeah.
My problem is when you go to an organization that say, "Oh, I will use Scrum, period, and don't change." So in this case, you're not being agile, you're being more traditional than anybody else. You are strictly rigid in your concept. So I always will defend that there's no, as you said, there's no silver bullet in project management. But most important, we need to be open-minded. We need to adapt. And now I come to the subject that I leave for the end. That is artificial intelligence. We are seeing a lot of buzzy discussions about artificial intelligence that will make us lose our jobs, that will eliminate the professionals, that will replace robots by people by robots. So there's a lot of crazy things saying about this. I remember when I saw internet comes to our reality, and a lot of people say, "Oh, internet, it's the worst thing that could happen in an organization, blah blah blah." And today, internet is make part of our life. And I truly believe that artificial intelligence in a few years will be part of our life, and we will never know what will be. This. It's like talking to a cell phone today. A cell phone today, these cell phone today have more capacity of computing than had when I started working a computer 10 years ago. So I think that artificial intelligence comes to stay, but we need to be responsible on this, and we need to be uh, uh, expert. We need to know how to use this. And talking about artificial intelligence, what do you have to say about the use of artificial intelligence in project management and in the resource management?
You know, I had a startup, right? I had a couple of business. I was successful in 3 of my 4 business, and the last one was a startup that I was working with exactly artificial intelligence and scheduling. And it was not generative AI yet, but it was already advanced scheduling for resource optimization. We had great results. We had investors, but I was a little early on the time, right? That was 2017, 2018. If I had that nowadays, that people are really want to understand what artificial intelligence can do for you, maybe I would really succeed with that startup. So I see a lot of value in what artificial intelligence can do for your project management, and especially for resource scheduling and optimization and so on. But it's not a replacement. It's really a complementary tool. It will be side to side with the project manager, right? So in some sense, you will have the opportunity to be a much better project manager than you were your entire life if you're close to artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence will do the routine job, the things that would take your time and wouldn't deliver much value. The AI will do it very fast, and so it can help you to understand what are the resources available. It can help you to figure out what are the risks related to your project. It might organize your schedule so you can talk to your customer, your team. It can organize how your documentation is being worked. It can help you with the quality issues.
Let me say something. Do you know how I'm using artificial intelligence today?
Uh-huh.
To do something that I always hate to do, that it's minute report.
Yeah, it's
Today,
great. Yeah.
I use Teams with my project team, and I always record the meeting with transcript. Okay,
Right.
so the teams like to describe, to transcript everything. What I need to do is to get this transcript, upload in a chat GPT, for example, and say, hey, chat GPT, please create this script, this minute meeting, uh, identifying who was in the meeting, what are the main subjects, what are the action
Yeah.
items to do, and the next steps. And in question of seconds, it's ready. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet, but save a lot of time for me.
No, exactly. And for example, when you would talk to the customer first time and you would gather some information about the project, and you had to draft the initial plan so you can understand a little more, these you can do directly with the AI and the customer. You can sit down and say, okay, tell me a little bit about your project. And the guy tells you a little thing. Okay. And then you tell AI, please break this into topics of project management based on the project model canvas. And the system will break it in 12 or 15 topics that must be deployed. And then you say, help me understand some of the risks I didn't see. And then he will gonna give you more risks. And what are the quality topics I must be aware of? And it's gonna give you more topics. So
Sure.
meetings that sometimes it would take 3, 4, 5 days to really come up and understand something that you're gonna work, you can do in hours. But who's going to be replaced by AI? People that don't use it.
Yeah.
So if you're a good user of AI and if you make the most of it, you're going to have a free time to be the exceptional guy in that particular thing that nobody else can replace you. And about scheduling, I can say that I have tested AI for scheduling in many ways. I have done wonderful things with AI in scheduling. but there are still things that it's going to take 5-10 years more for to be solved. So you need to be the orchestrator of that. You need to be the chef in the cuisine that's going to do the gourmet of what the AI is giving you to your project management, right? So you should not be afraid of AI. You should really study, get to understand it, but you have to still learn technical tools for project management as well. You need to understand what is a schedule network. You need to understand what is a risk registry. You need to understand what is a work breakdown structure. You even if the computer can do this for you, you have to understand the fundamentals, and you have to work with these fundamentals. And you cannot get locked into one single approach. Oh, I know everything about Scrum and forget about waterfall. No, man. There's a whole world of combinations you have to work around. Right?
That's it. Well done. Well said, Peter. Listen, unfortunately, usually this conversation takes about 1 hour. We are close to this, but I promise to everyone that are watching this video, I will get back. I get Peter back to this conversation in the very short future. So the idea is to organize with Peter a section where we can demonstrate to you how to use the project canvas, how to understand some challenge on resource management. So this is a promise to all of you that are watching this video. And Peter, this is my invite to you to come back and let's keep this discussion. I think there's a lot of things that unfortunately we did not have time to discuss here, but as I said, for me, resource management is one of the key areas that professionals need to pay attention to really be successful in project management. And for those that want to contact Peter, so I'm gonna share here his LinkedIn profile is at the Peter S. Mello with 2 L's. So you can link or connect it to Peter. And also there's Peter has a portfolio website with all projects and a lot of videos talking about resource management, other subjects. So you can go to shortlink.name/portfolio.petersmello. Peter, thank you very much, my friend. It was a really great pleasure to have you here. And I have no words to thank you. I think that you gave a lot of good insights for professionals. And I'm looking forward to have you again in this good discussion.
At any time, you know that, as we said, team building. We became part of a big team, right? We love project management. We love to talk about it. It's important for us. You doing your work, that's very important to bring this to the attention of people that want to start, want to improve on that. And I'm there to help you at any time you want.
Great. Thank you very much. And for those that are watching my YouTube channel, please don't forget to give a thumbs up, a like, leave your comments. I have put here below my social media contacts. So you can contact me on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. They're all the same contact. It's Start Projecting Now. So you can search for these Start Projecting Now on any social media. You're gonna find me. Please connect with me, share your experience, share your questions. If you have any question, if you have any situation that that I discuss here, brings me this situation, this problem, I'm gonna try to record a video or even invite someone to discuss about this and try to improve as much as possible the community of hybrid project management. So thank you very much. and stay tuned. I will be in the next week or maybe after next week with another great guest here to talk about hybrid project management. Thank you, everyone.